17th, and this is season 2, episode 4 of
The Slayers of Boredom Podcast.
In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information. No one will be above the law.
no one.
Not one person will be above the law, except myself.
When it comes down to me retaining classified documents. So what's up?
Hey there.
Hey.
Welcome back to our show.
Yeah. It's been a few weeks, I guess. I don't know, maybe a month.
Yeah, we usually go long distances.
Yeah,
between
long
each one.
distances.
It's good, though.
Things go on, things
you wait.
happen.
Make you wait. Everything's
So-
better.
Yeah, I mean, this is what's in the news right now, I guess. I mean, it's kind of, we have to talk about it.
37 counts.
I know. It's crazy. It's
it.
crazy. And I hope that everyone listening has read the official indictment put forth from Jack Smith and his group of investigators. Because it's fucking crazy, man. Like reading it's I just, I can't wait for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's or the I don't know, mini series, whatever the fuck it ends up being.
Television adaptation.
Yeah, you get the right actor, and I mean it's got to be a comedy. I mean this shit's like laughable. I get our whole country's become a fucking dark comedy. I guess it gets to the point where it's like, wow, this is serious. This is dark. This is fucked up. And then there's like this asshole that everybody like holds high up on this pedestal. This fucking dude who's like just a corrupt ass grifting motherfucker.
He's still leading the polls by like a large number, and he's indicted.
There's nothing in the Constitution that says a felon can't run for president and become president. So
They didn't think it would be necessary to put these on the
and
books.
people out there defending him right now for all of his corruption and his crimes. I mean, dude, you guys want this guy running, because I'm telling you right now, the only person that Biden can beat is Donald fucking Trump.
Yeah.
So, I mean, or I'm sorry, reverse that. You guys actually don't want to care what happens to Trump. You probably do want him to go to jail, because any other conservative candidate, if that's what you really care about, I mean, I'm not really sure if it is principles or morals or whatever, fiscal conservatism that might be left in the veins of anybody anymore. But if there are those out there, I mean, I would think that you don't want Donald Trump as I really feel he's the only person Biden can beat. So if Trump's going to be your guy, I mean, you guys are going to have another 4 years of Biden. So yeah. I'm just saying, but
I mean, bring it on. But I feel like this is still only the beginning. There's going to be the indictment. You were talking about something in DC. But
I think there are going to be charges brought forth in DC. I just think that they were trying to show, for a man who constantly bemoans just unfairness, like there's no, like nothing's fair, this is all a witch hunt, whatever. I think that they were trying to afford him as much fairness as possible by having this venue be in Florida.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By allowing this judge, yes, Eileen Cannon, or something is her name too, by allowing her to preside. I mean, what couldn't go in his favor? I think that they,
they don't want to give any excuses, is
sure.
what I'm thinking.
And it's wonderful. It's wonderful, the idealism that they have, that they're holding, that they feel that somehow this will be a fair trial and everybody will see it for what it is, which really is an open and shut case. I mean, when you read this indictment, it's ridiculous, and we'll get to the differences there. But they're appealing to, I guess, the citizenry of South Florida's sense of moral fortitude and law, whether or not they believe in the law. And I guess we'll just see.
Well,
he's innocent until proven guilty, of course. Sorry, these are alleged crimes, but geez, just read the indictment.
I mean, it's ridiculous. But you imagine if they had the hearing in New York City or California or something. Right there, the arguments begin of it's an unfair trial. It's an unfair trial. So you have to just cater, to the idiots out there and think, all right, it's in Florida and it's one of his judges. So here's all the evidence with all the situation that makes you comfortable with the evidence being presented,
Sure.
And if that's the way it's got to go, that's the way it's got to go. I'm fine with it because I'm all about the evidence. I don't care where the staging is. It's more about the evidence for me. And to see those pictures of the amount of boxes that he had in the ballroom. And then I don't know if you noticed in the bathroom photo.
Oh yeah.
But if you look above the curtain, because it's all in front of a tub with a curtain pulled where you'd have a shower. Above the curtain, there's box tops. Mm-hmm. So the tub is also full. It's just unreal.
Don't touch my boxes. Those are my things. I don't want anybody going through my boxes. Personal items like shirts and all sorts of things. All sorts of things.
But when you see him do his press conferences and stuff after the indictments, his parties, he's like, whataboutism is just, that's their only deflection that any of them have, is just like, yeah, I mean, he did something wrong, but what about Hillary Clinton and the servers?
Sure.
What about
it's deflection? It's the easiest.
Biden.
It's the easiest means of deflection, and we can talk about that. There's certain. I hate to sound like I'm talking down to people, but there are certain words that we can discuss that we can hopefully establish an understanding of, so that way we can understand the broader charges and why Biden and Pence and Hillary aren't having criminal charges brought against them for their mistakes. Yeah, their indiscretions, their mishandling of things. And I mean, I don't know, I guess we can jump right into that if you want. I mean, it's mishandling of classified information from both realms, no matter how you look at it. The difference is it's intent versus accidental. Okay, so Biden, Pence, Hillary, they weren't able to prove that there was intent, that they were willfully trying to take classified information, classified documents, anything, and store it on a server, or store it next to their Corvette, or store it next to your huge mantle of Jesus. In Pence's case, probably, who fucking knows?
Homage to Mother.
Yeah, sure, or his homage to Mother, which, oh man, that's a creepy thing if you really think about it.
I can't think about it. It's insane to me.
Mother.
Amy Coney Barrett, our Supreme Court Justice, also subscribes to that.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's insane, but whatever. Moving on.
So you have that piece of it, and again, we'll get to Trump at the end. So when it comes to the obstruction charges, there are whether or not you are compliant, or whether or not you have a massive fucking ego that causes you to bloviate constantly and defend yourself for having things that you're not really entitled to under some law that you don't fully understand. So I mean, those are the differences. And when the FBI comes knocking and you decide to say to your lawyer, which the veil of client, patient, whatever, client, the confidentiality between a lawyer and their client was pierced because of such damning evidence. When you try and get your lawyer to commit crimes with you, saying certain things as, well, wouldn't it be better if we just told them that we don't have any documents? Or, wouldn't it be better if there just weren't any documents? You know what I mean? So, certain things like that.
These are quotes from Donald Trump.
Yeah, and when it really comes down to it, the reason why Pence and Hillary and Biden were not charged is because they cooperated, and because they don't feel the need to spout off at the mouth all the time, and certainly haven't realized that an audio recording device combined with your ego is like the worst combination of fucking stupidity and evidence in the whole fucking world. Donald Trump is a fucking moron, and it's as simple as that. The man incriminates himself everywhere he goes. Everywhere he goes, at every rally, talking about him having the documents is still incriminating. He's a moron. It's so dumb. And the audio is what destroyed him. When you read that indictment, you will see all of it. This isn't a fucking hoax. You know what I mean? You can just go right online and read it. And it is flabbergasting, man.
I have not read it.
Oh,
to
really?
be honest with you.
Oh,
no.
my God. Dude, it's hilarious. It's unbelievable. And again, this man's ego sunk him. And I don't understand why people are still trying to get behind him. And those are the differences between the classified documents. Okay, like if you cooperate, you don't have a fucking indictment coming against you. If you don't admit on tape that you willfully took these things and then show them to people, one of which might actually be Kid Rock, which is hilarious as fuck. Yeah, Kid Rock admitted that, like, Trump showed him maps and shit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I mean,
the pillow guy Lindell, you know he got to see something.
Yeah. So I mean,
That
it's
doesn't make me comfortable at all.
if it comes down to the point where the man just literally incriminates himself and admits it on tape, saying like, I could have classified these, but I didn't. So right there, he's or declassified these, but I didn't. So this is still a secret. Right there, he knows. He knows that when he used to make up all that bullshit about how he declassified it in his head, or he declassified it before he took it, he was lying. So that is willful intent. Okay, he incriminated himself. It is plain as day. There is no denying it.
Now, do you think he'll get charged?
He has been charged. He's gonna go to trial.
Conviction.
Oh, will he be convicted?
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's the Justice. Well, Jack Smith's Special Investigative Unit, whatever wing of that Justice Department. Which, by the way, another thing is this isn't a political witch hunt, because Trump's team, I mean, they had 4 years to do something about Burisma, to do something about, with the Bidens and all that shit, to do something about Hillary's emails. They had plenty of time to do that. Trump's own Justice Department didn't do anything. And this is 3 degrees separated from Biden, from Merrick Garland, who's the Attorney General, to Jack Smith, who was a special investigator assigned by Merrick Garland to a grand jury, which allowed these charges to move forward. Okay, so it's 3 layers of separation from Joe Biden. Okay, this isn't a political witch hunt. This is a man who seemingly had no idea that he just incriminates himself everywhere he goes. I mean, it's as simple as that. And then when the FBI comes knocking and you tell him fuck off, I mean, you're dumb. I don't
understand.
There's no other. You're just stupid, and I don't want that man to be my fucking president for tons more fucking
How
reasons
can you
before
still
that.
Follow it?
But
how can you still, like, if he becomes president again, he has access to unlimited unclassified documents that he can declassify with his mind. Like, it seems like this is one of those things that, I mean, if you're, what was he just convicted of for defamation and rape of E. Jean Carroll?
It's sexual abuse.
Sexual abuse. But
which is a civil charge in the end. These are criminal charges. Trump is toast. Bill Barr said it himself. This man is in some serious fucking trouble, and I think that anybody conservative that listens to us and likes that man should be prepared for him to go to jail. I think this is going to happen. I think it's more than likely that he will die in jail. This is not a fucking joke. I mean, one count of this stuff has landed people in jail for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
His life's over if he's convicted. And I really do think that it can fall under, it is under the discretion of a judge. I mean, it could be a hung jury. They could just not, it could be one person that just says no.
A lot of the questions for the upcoming candidates is, will you pardon Trump? Like, it's almost like some of the media has moved on beside when he's convicted, like, because that's obviously going to happen. But will you pardon Trump? So to me, it does feel like these are more serious charges than just what he can just wash away with the words witch hunt. Yeah, and maybe I jumped the gun a little bit. I mean, he is presumed innocent until found guilty, but the Justice Department for these types of charges has an almost 100% conviction rate. You know what I mean? But again, and this is such an open and shut case, and there's really no denying that. And when you know that Fox News is avoiding it, you know that, like, it's bad. I mean, everybody else, every professional lawyer and judge and prosecutor, they all are saying that, like, I mean, he's cooked. People from his own freaking team. Some people on Fox News have said it. I mean, Bill Barr, that man who literally did things, the Justice Department really should not have done under Donald Trump, is saying that even if half of this is true, the man's toast. And he is, but I do think that there is that area that you have to allow for a juror to just say no. Because, they just don't want to. They're in a demographic where people, and we're going to have to honor that. I think it's a shame, but I don't know, man. Well, see, it's like Jack Smith. You got to appeal to people's moral sense of the law. That's the only way it's going to get through. What you got to hope for. I think with the amount of evidence, but and for reference, there's a show out that just came out called Reality. It's a limited series or whatever. And it's really oddly shot in that it's pretty much just the interrogation of one woman while her house is getting raided the whole time. But it was a story of the Russian, colluding to get Donald Trump president. Some information was leaked during, in 2017, I think. And it was her. She took one email and sent it to, I think, the Washington Post or something. Was that red-haired NRA girl? And she was like a Russian? No, that was way more in depth. This
I
is
forget
just
her
this
name.
is just honestly a regular American that had
Oh.
a secret clearance that didn't like that she could see things that the president was lying about and decided through a bunch of you'd have to see it. But she ends up sending this and it and she gets 5 years in prison for whistleblowing something that
And
was
this
true.
did happen, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
all this happened, and she got 5 years in jail for one document, essentially one email that had classified information in it, and that was 5 years in jail. This is an insane amount, and like you said, with the recordings that they have of him knowingly withholding and hiding it and storing it, and then when he was bragging about what he might have to certain people on tape. That means he like intended to show, and his ego, you've been spouting it right now. It's that he couldn't not. If he had a classified document that was dope and he wanted to impress Kid Rock, boom, it was on the table. And that's the kind of stuff we can't afford as a country. And yet he's leading in the polls. It blows my mind that you could be so just ignorant to the facts. And what I was going to say earlier when he goes to his rallies after the fact and he speaks on Biden, because all he does is whataboutism. He never wants to talk about himself. It's a witch hunt. Let's move on to all the things that aren't witch hunts. And but when he talks about Biden, he'll mention 570 boxes. What was it? What's in the boxes? What's in the boxes? Every vice president, senator, congressional senator can take their boxes home, can take their classified documents, everything that they have. They're allowed to have them to do what they want with them.
I know nothing other than reading the indictment, and that's what I learned about.
Oh,
But still, I don't.
Common. I mean, this is just the way it works. Senators, they do not have to. There's nothing. Once their term is done, their classified documents are theirs to do with as they please. And
I think they have to go through some sort of they have to go through some sort of protocol to get them declassified in order to take them back. Though there has to be
Well, it's just
you know what I mean.
Check out each senator and what they do with them. Some store them. But the ones he's talking about are 570 boxes of classified documents from he was a senator that he donated to Delaware
And a vice
University.
president too, apparently.
Those
For
he had to
Biden, but
return.
still.
The
Oh
ones that-
yeah, okay.
But he referred, listen to when he's talking about the 500 plus boxes. What's in the boxes, Joe? What's in the boxes, Joe? Go ask Delaware University where he donated them legally.
Oh yeah,
You can
okay.
look in those
I understand
boxes.
what you're saying now. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, but that's the kind of whataboutism. People don't look into it. They just think oh yeah, that's it. He's got 570 boxes. I didn't even see that many in the pictures. Well, those were taken through the correct channels and dealt with as they were supposed to be done. These piles in these pictures you're seeing are like finding drugs.
Yeah.
You say, I don't have anything. Don't look in my house. They look in your house and you have something.
Yeah.
It's over. And it should be. But I honestly don't have faith. I never thought he would be president in a million years. And then here he is.
and I get that. And I still share that sentiment to a degree. I think I'm trying to, I guess, just substitute Trump with anybody else and just hope that, I mean, you got to read this indictment. It's unfucking believable, dude. It is. It's.
I hate to say I just took in the highlights, but I
No,
did.
it's okay, man. I read it. It's unbelievable. And everybody will tell you, they specifically said this is just a readable indictment. We suggest that every American just read it. It's plainly put together. It really is. It's a very plain argument. It is very plain evidence that is right there for you to see. It's not,
So it's not
fucking hard. It's not like a fucking math equation was put together when you're investigating whatever Mueller's investigation was. And I'm not trying to disparage Jack Smith. I'm just saying for fuck's sake, Trump made it pretty fucking easy. That's the whole point of this. That's what I want people to understand. This man is a fucking dumbass. So my problem at this point is that Trump's just some fucking douchebag. There's been so many assholes like him in history, and there's gonna be more. I mean, he's got children and he's got tons of other fucking supporters that are similar. We need a cultural shift in this country. The only reason why this man is popular, the only reason why this man was president, why we're having this investigation, why we've come to this precedence of indicting a former president, is because we voted him in there. Not us specifically, but us as a country. I mean, we did. That's what happened through the channels right now. Not popularly, but through the channels that we have via the Electoral College. We need a cultural shift in this country. And again, it's all going to lead back to capitalism for me, because it always does. I mean, it really comes, and I argue with people at work about this all the time, but I have a friend that we've both agreed, and I know you and I have agreed that if Americans, if we're the shining light on top of the hill, if we all didn't have to worry about feeding ourselves or money or like just being under the throes of capitalism, having to pay for everything to survive, that whole cost of living thing, I don't think we would be as hateful amongst one another. I don't think that maybe, I mean, there's certain things that won't go away, homophobia, racism, certain people's religious beliefs and how they influence their prejudices. But I don't know that people would be as willing to go out and commit violence as you know, in response to something like that, or you know, go online and spend their whole day arguing with somebody saying hateful, terrible things. Like that's just kind of where I'm at right now. So we need a cultural shift in this country. We need to not focus on these imbecile, like basically, you know, they call them strong men, but they're really just they're fake on all underneath. I mean, Donald Trump is terrified right now, man. Yes, and he's a fucking charlatan. The man is a fraud. And he's not this strong man that everybody, just because he fucking fights back doesn't mean that he's not doing wrong things, that he's not a selfish person who's putting himself before our fucking country. And I just don't understand why people can't realize that at this point. And I mean, I've been wondering it since 2016. Like I'm sitting there thinking on my couch being like, before I was even married, before I had kids, just being like, man, are people really going to vote for this guy?
I didn't think it was possible.
Really?
I thought when Hillary overtook Bernie that I was like, well, we got Hillary as a president. You know, and I was not happy about it.
Sure, and shame on us,
I was not happy about it.
Shame on us.
The odds of it being Trump to me was just like, that's just an outlier. That's just going to be a funny little thing to happen during the downfall through Hillary. And then when he was elected, I mean, man, I went through it. You know, he owned this lib that day.
And I don't like Hillary either. I mean, I think she's shady and fraudulent. I don't like the Clintons at all, but at least she bowed out. Like, you know, everybody's still talking about Hillary. Like, I don't know. Where's she on the fucking ballot box? No one's voting for her anymore. She's done. At least she knows when to fucking bow out. You want to know why? Because she doesn't have an investigation that's going to fucking put her in prison for the rest of her fucking life. So she doesn't have the only means to escape this right now, which Donald Trump thinks is the presidency. And he's probably right. And at the same time, the guy probably should just bow out and go to jail because, unfortunately, it is my opinion that any other candidate on the right will beat Joe Biden. And if they pardon Trump, then, you know, fuck it. That's the worst case scenario. I want Trump to keep running. I want him to run. I want him to lose, and I want him to fucking go to jail.
I mean, obviously,
that's what I personally want to happen. And this doesn't mean I want fucking Joe Biden there either, but I'm tired of fucking saying that. You guys know these politicians, like, whatever. It was stupid for Joe Biden to have these documents too, but the guy cooperated. This, the only difference here is being an egotistical asshole or not, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least, you know, these people have egos to begin with to some extent, but when like the power of the Federal Bureau of Investigation comes down on you and they're like, look, you know, we're here, we know what you have. Just give it back to us, and we're not going to fucking destroy you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they realize, okay, you know, check my ego, gotcha, here it is, done. Yeah. Move on with my life.
I'm a little confused on how they have so many and why. You know, I've accepted that fact, but at the same time, I don't quite understand why you would have them. Why you would collect them and put them by your Corvettes. And, you know, when they were finding hidden ones in his office, they saw other ones by his desk.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is Biden I'm talking about, you know? But, like, how, I don't know. You know,
I don't know what it comes. I don't know what layer. I know there are different layers of classification, like top secret type stuff, and there's like
I have a full secret clearance myself.
There's one that's like no foreign documents, which are like no foreign governments other than like, you know, the UK, Australia, like our allies. There's documents like that. There's certain things called skiffs where you can only view these documents, and there's secure rooms where they're not allowed. Some certain documents are not allowed to be viewed outside of those rooms. That's all I really know. I don't know if they mishandled them or took them because they thought maybe they were so old that they were past their period of classification. I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how long things stay in that status as far as classified or top secret. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not making excuses for them. Like I said, they still mishandled these things, and that's still a problem. But again, whether or not like
it was after
the government decides to bring charges against, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, look at Nixon. You know, they were going to bring charges and Ford pardoned him. You know what I mean? There's just there are certain instances where, like, sure, there might be evidence, but do we want to go through it all, or do we just want to have them cooperate and be done with it, so we don't have to go through the precedence of indicting? Even though I think all corrupt politicians should be indicted for what they've done, you know, obviously. But I'm just saying this is the way that I think the justice system works. But when it's just given to you on a silver platter the way Trump did, I mean, there's no, you don't have a fucking choice.
You have to.
You know, and that's what people just really need to realize. Like, I'm sorry if you still like Trump, but geez, I mean, this is, this is not the same thing as what Hillary and Pence and Biden did. It's just not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's, like I said, we were able to prove willful intent. That's the Espionage Act. Like, he intended to take these documents, and the obstruction of justice by not cooperating with the feds, both of which the other three, I mean, they cooperated, you know what I mean? And there wasn't proof that they took these things purposefully to use them in a nefarious manner to show them to, I don't fucking know, who are the Clintons friends with? Some fucking weird, like Hillary Clinton's gonna show some shit to fucking Oprah or something. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to think of like the ridiculous extreme for like Kid Rock. Like there's Oprah seeing classified documents on Hillary's end, and then there's Kid Rock on Trump's end. Like it's both really fucking weird to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that either of them actually happened. The Kid Rock thing is alleged, and I guess I'm alleging that maybe, I mean, oh man. You know, and we're also talking about nuclear secrets too. I don't think there was any type of military plans or nuclear secrets involved in the documents that Clinton or any. I don't, you know what I mean? And
the caliber of documents that Trump had is of note in comparison to everyone else too.
Yeah.
But and as far as the classifications are concerned, they are very leveled off. So like you can have a top secret document that Biden would have had that doesn't carry the weight of the top secret document that Trump would have had. But that's hard to convey.
Varying
other
degrees.
Nuances, yeah.
Yeah, nuance. And that's an important, this nuance is so important.
Yeah.
That's another thing about this country. I mean, we're kind of like forced into that partisan divide, I suppose. I mean, like, people have to vote for something they don't want to vote for just to avoid, like, you know, that same old fucking, you know, lesser of two evils bullshit. You know, but people don't want, people see things in black and white a lot. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a constituency that's voting, and like, we need ranked choice voting, man. Like, there's just really simple things we could do that would honestly, it would threaten the power of those, that hold said power,
and that's why it won't happen.
And that's why it won't happen.
Have to vote on it.
But they really are. But they really are simple things. I mean, getting rid of Citizens United so that way you get all that dark money out of politics and stuff like that. Having actual term limits besides like Mitch McConnell. It's called voting as an elections. No. Like, I'm sorry. You were a fucking senator. You did 6 years. You did 12 total. That's a lot. Get the see ya.
You're done.
Gone.
Yeah.
And he did a lot fucking more than that. The guy's been a senator for life, and like those types of things. And oh my God, what the fuck? So what did I say? Citizens United and term limits.
Yeah.
And then
rank-based voting.
Yes, thank you. Rank-based or ranked choice voting, which, I mean, basically, then you get the best of, like, who's your top guy? Cool, here's your second top guy. We're going to take that in consideration, too. Yes, we are. And your third rank guy, who do you not want in there? You know, there's I'm going to do this analogy, and this is perfect. And I think it worked out really well. There was this camp thing in 6th grade. And I went to Camp Hill, where, I don't know, anybody that's listening to this would know. It's called Camp Canadensis, okay? So, and now this seems cruel when you think about it, but if the teachers were honest enough to keep it private, I guess, I don't know, I think some kids would still figure it out. But basically, it was like a 3-day thing, and you had to bunk with kids that you went to school with. So, you know, you don't want any problems. You want to make sure everybody's having fun. So, secretly, everybody would fill out a list of the top 3 people. It might have been top 3, top 5, or whatever, that, you know, which would always end up being like your best friends that you wanted to bunk with and stuff like that. And then perhaps some kids, a few that you didn't get along with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was always taken into consideration. And I think that's how they probably avoided a lot of problems. So that way, like, kids that weren't friends with other kids, or maybe like, I don't know. And it does seem kind of cruel, but when you think about it, it ends up being the ideal situation then. And you might not get your first choice, but maybe you'll get your second choice. Right? So that way you can get rid of primaries altogether. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's the right way you're going to get a popular consensus at that point.
Yeah. The way it works is essentially, like you were describing with the camp, is you've got all your candidates, and you would have 5 candidates. You'd rate them 1 through 5. If everybody does that, then you're number 1, maybe somebody else is number 5, you know, but if everybody can kind of agree on 2 and 3, then that would win out overall points wise, because it's like, we can all agree that Bernie Sanders, you know, it would be a decent choice. We don't like him. We want Trump, and we want Hillary, but Bernie Sanders would be all right. Then that just kind of takes an overall consensus of everybody, rather than, like you said, black and white. You know, it takes that away. This is when you do ranked choice voting, you're living.
Yeah, I've heard it referred both ways.
The gray.
Yeah.
You know, and it has worked. It would work, but I mean, we are so far away from that with the country. If we still have Donald Trump, leading the polls. We can't even agree that climate change is real while we're in the throes of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I was saying off air earlier, like I'm at the point where there's just some people I just won't have conversations with them anymore. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to tell me you don't believe in climate change, then I'm not going to talk to you. You know what I mean? Like it's just I'm not going to argue with you about anything. I'm not going to get upset if you're like, why can't we just have some discourse and blah, blah, blah. You just automatically want to shut me down. I'm like, yeah, I do, because you're either trying to be an asshole or you're just being willfully stupid or you literally don't believe in it, at which point I'm probably not going to convince you otherwise.
Yeah.
You know, like certain things like that. Like if you're going to sit there and tell me that a woman doesn't have a right to choose, then I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to have that conversation with you.
Different planes.
Exactly.
There's no
and
common
I'm trying to
ground
get to
there.
that point. The older I get, the closer I get to 40 to just kind of like not get involved in those types of conversations. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to tell me what type of parent I'm supposed to be, I'm just going to tell you to get the hell away from me, you know, that type of shit. Like, I'm not going to have conversations with people like that because, you know, there's certain conversations you just can't have because, you know, someone is so dead set in their ways. Maybe like I am too. I mean, I don't want to sound hypocritical, but there's.
Oh, no, I'm moldable. I will change my opinion. I will definitely, with the right facts in front of me, I have.
Yeah, I mean,
many times.
On abortion, for example, like, I mean, if a woman's like really close to, unless there's some medical emergency, if all of a sudden you're in your third trimester and you're like ready to have this baby and you're like, I don't want it anymore. I'm like, well, okay, I don't really fucking know about that. Like, there's, you know, obviously, like, there's certain limits like that, but to not even, and there are still some areas in this country that don't account for like rape and incest and stuff.
That's insane.
And even a woman having to carry a child to term that might be stillborn. You know what I mean? How fucking traumatizing. That would traumatize me for my entire fucking life. If I had to give birth to a dead child or know that my child was dead inside me.
With the dead child inside you for a little while. Oh man.
Where's the fucking humanity? You know what I mean? So there's certain things like that where I don't feel like I want to have a conversation. Like if you want to have a conversation about the best way to tackle immigration, I mean, sure, you can have a nuanced conversation about that. You can have a nuanced conversation, for certain areas of the trans conversation, in my opinion, like trans sports, I think you can have a bit of a conversation with it. I also would love to have a conversation with anti-trans people on why they seem to accept trans men more than trans women. You know what I mean? Because it's really just because the masculinity of this country. Like, you got to keep that up because men are pussies these days or whatever. Fucking bullshit. Anyways, that's a whole other fucking cast. But I'm saying that I will have nuanced conversations with people about things. I try not to see the world in black and white. But if you're just denying facts, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's no point in me wasting my time.
It's not. It's not.
And a lot of this indictment, if you read it, it is just right there in front of you. There's no denying it. There's no denying the audio. There's no denying the man's ego. It's gonna fucking sink him. And this what's going on? It's gonna sink him in one way or another. So
I'm excited to see it, but I have my doubts.
Yeah, I know.
I'm usually disappointed. So, and you know,
you want to Triscuit?
Not at all. Do you?
I'm going to eat one. If that's all right with you guys.
Please, into the mic if you could, because it's one of the crunchier snacks.
Oh, we're doing ASMR now?
Please. I just opened a beer.
This shit's so fucking weird.
Yeah, in the middle of the cast, I'm sure that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Professionals.
No,
if you don't know what ASMR is, it's that's it. You just got it. Hope you enjoyed.
It's like audio stimulation, right?
Yeah.
It seems something like that.
We looked it up fairly recently, but I still don't remember.
Anyways, unless you want to, you had some great topics. Like, tell me more about El Nino, honestly, because I am curious.
Well, yeah, that's a hard. Well, I guess we took a nice long break there. A little commercial.
Do we need? Wait, is this it? Nope.
Hey.
There, Yam gave us a transition. No, I'm sorry. We can finishing thoughts. I'm done. I always talk too much, but if you want to finish up,
I'm all wrapped up on that. We feel the same way. I have my doubts that he's actually going to get convicted, just because of past experiences, to be honest, and my distaste for the justice system. But it is. I think we can transition well. Just that Trump supporters are just blind to what's right in front of them. So when I want to talk about climate change, because it feels exactly the same on a global scale, you know?
Yeah, sure. All right.
Because you got Gutierrez, the World Health Organization, he's saying, like, every country is talking about their footprint and their goals, but we're doing nothing. Nothing is changing. Yeah, true back there, and it's
Money.
Yeah, I mean, it is all money, but at the same time, like, you can see what's happening. Yeah. A few casts ago, we were talking about, 2030 is like, we got to make changes before 2030 or it's going to be disastrous. Well, getting to 2030 is going to have a lot of problems in the meantime. You're going to have crazier storms, different weather patterns. So I'm sure you've heard the term El Nino before. And El Nino is a weather event, and it's cyclical. It happens when it's not El Nino, it could be La Nina or the intermediaries between them. And the last El Nino was in 2016. This El Nino that's now confirmed only in the U.S., though the rest of the world hasn't fully confirmed it yet, although I feel like it is that as well, that is now beginning, is going to have unforeseeable effects. We've never had an El Nino with a Pacific Ocean that is this hot. So and to
I've
be,
been in that ocean. It's cold as balls. So imagining it being hot is.
Well, no, I mean, it is hot. Just overall, it's gone up. But and to give some,
I know what you mean. I'm just being
to try not to be too boring. El Nino, like I said, it's a cyclical weather cycle, and what it does is it shifts the trade winds up from when they're like going over Mexico and South America a little bit more on the U.S. and it changes the full direction of these trade winds coming from west to east, which really consolidates warm water right off the coast of the upper west South America. So the things you're going to see are like, had you heard the term atmospheric river?
Yes, I think we might have talked about it briefly, but yeah, any type of river that's somehow like in a sky and then eventually just drops, right? And then all of a sudden
it happens off the coast, and it's these buildups of moisture. Yeah, where normally just big storms, bigger storms, this and that. But due to the changes because of climate change, we now have this term atmospheric river, where there is enough moisture in those clouds to form a full-on river, more than Amazon River. And then it crashes into the shore and dumps on California.
Yeah, that's insane.
I thought that was insane. Then I learned that there's actual degrees of separation, just like hurricanes, and tornadoes. You got an F5 and this and that. They have that same rating scale for what are called atmospheric rivers. Growing up, I learned about hurricanes and tsunamis and monsoons being hurricanes as well. But you learn about all the basics. Atmospheric rivers were not one of them.
No.
They're now one of them.
I'd never heard them until you told me.
There's now a scale to monitor them. And I mean, that's what's going to be happening coming up here. We're going to have a pretty hot summer with extreme hurricanes. And when El Nino comes in, we have less hurricanes than the average.
Yeah.
But because hurricanes all run on wind, and when wind, like El Nino's pushing in, it disrupts everything. But the ones that break through are stronger than any of the ones that could before. So the ones that you do get are going to be more aggressive. And some of the mainstream media is saying that we're going to have an average hurricane season, which to me is telling me it should be low. If El Nino's happening, it should be a low hurricane season. If it's going to be an average season, then it's going to be devastating. And that's not even to say. And so the winter is when El Nino really affects the rest of the world. Floods and all these famines, this kind of thing, due to these climate, the changes all around the world. And but what we need to worry about is in 2024, that summer, because it's going to be the end of El Nino, but that's when the oceans are going to be the hottest. We're going to be close to 1.5 Celsius. And that is the devastation point. That's when Florida starts going under. 2 degrees. We're going to be at 1.5 potentially by the end of 2024. And yet nobody cares.
And that's when people are going to be deciding whether or not they want to vote for fucking Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he's not going to understand the nuances of climate change.
No, he understands money, and it's going to be junk science coming his way from people who benefit highly from fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I guess I'll get to use my fucking snowblower then. Although you did tell me precipitation in the winter could just be rain too, right?
Yeah. I mean, it throws everything in a bit of a flux. To be honest, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, we're just going to be a little warmer, is what I'm finding out. But it's more the effects on the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And I know it's really hard for us to envision that and think about that, but those do affect our economy and our human lives. I mean, that's where I'm living is, you know, all the lives that are going to be lost here, but just to affect some of you that don't pay attention, it will affect your pocketbook. So you may want to pay attention. You're looking at Texas, who they don't think they can support the power grid for the upcoming heat wave. And, you know, like we had the storm or the...
Remember the ERCOT grid, man, what that did.
What was it?
The ERCOT grid in Texas?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, sure.
That's
what happened in the wintertime when they had that crazy freaking storm. And
they wanted off the national grid so that they could do their own thing. And now they can't handle weather changes because they're fucking idiots. Abbott, come on. Guy doesn't know. But
dick. Put some red flag laws in there too, you fucking asshole.
But it's just unfathomable to me that we wouldn't that we're arguing whether or not it's real. We're not discussing how to curb it, how to bring it down. We're still arguing whether or not it's real and it's happening. Canada's wildfires, where we're at in Pennsylvania, we had 480 was like the statistical code for how bad our weather was. Hazardous, stay inside. At that point, just last week, that we had the worst air quality in the world, worse than New Delhi, worse than places that are known for having bad quality. Not to be derogatory towards them. I'm saying places that are known to have bad air quality, and like their bad air quality is 160 in comparison. Yeah. We had 480 down here. When has that ever happened to us before? Yeah, you know, another unprecedented event. But that word means nothing anymore. Every day is unprecedented.
It was no different than being around a campfire.
I went to.
I heard that twice from people I worked with. And on the radio.
The particulates in that fog that was resting on us that just went to the Midwest and is now coming back is the particulates in there and the things that they can cause. I mean, yeah, I went out to a restaurant and I ate in the restaurant with a friend and then came home. Those kind of things were okay. It wasn't quarantine. But it was something where like you don't... And when I'm at that restaurant, there were people eating outside. A group of 12 dudes sitting at a table... And it was glass windows, glass doors on the front of the restaurant. It looked like a post-apocalypse it was just, you know, don't look up right in front of me happening. You know, it was insane. This is fine.
I mowed the lawn. I had a mask on though.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. COVID had super tiny particulates, you know, that your normal mask couldn't stop. These are the ones that a good mask can do. So just wearing a mask outside was phenomenal, and you could have probably done the yard work. I probably wouldn't have done it myself, but I'm weirdly cautious.
I use an electric mower. I enjoy it. My yard's got all kinds of weeds and fucking bee-friendly plants going on.
Nice.
Sorry if I keep looking at my phone. I got somebody coming to fix my dishwasher. This is really unprofessional. I got someone coming to fix my dishwasher, and I got to make sure I let my wife know if they're on.
Yeah, why you fucking scheduled this during our cast?
No, they scheduled it.
Who's they?
A&E and the warranty company, man. I don't want to fucking get into this shit. No one cares about my washing machine.
Dishwasher, right?
No, our washing machine. We need to wash our fucking clothes, man. So I just have to stop going to my parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do what you got to do there.
But yeah, anyways, I mean, the whole idea of, I don't know, man. We need adults again. We need adult human beings that aren't intrinsically greedy and infatuated with making as much money as possible. Like we need these people in the room, people that can have these conversations. Like,
yeah, we need everyone.
Anybody that denies, like politicians like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's so stupid, man, to deny these types of things like climate change, shit that's right in front of your face that every scientist on the planet agrees is happening. To deny that and get votes, like. It's fucking upsetting, and I know that, you know, just liberal tears making me upset. That's the goal. Oh my god, but Jesus, dude, like, oh my god, I got kids. What if I had grandkids? They're the ones that are really gonna fucking suffer from this shit.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want to see people. I don't want to see the Maldives go underwater by 2100. You know, even though I'll be dead, but still, like, you know, nobody wants to fucking see that shit. But we're going down that route.
Yeah.
Because people want to, instead of like doing the right things, at least the precautionary things that we can do. We should at least be doing everything that we can without completely crippling the global economy. Because I do understand, like, I don't think there's any way to quantify what hitting the off button on all fossil fuels would do right now. Like the Stop Oil people in England, like,
That's not real. It's not real.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's
that's
no
your far leftist.
Yeah,
know?
and sure, and we know that the
just
planet,
as dumb.
we know that we're gonna get past that threshold and things are gonna be shitty no matter what we do.
We've gone too far.
Exactly,
We went too far years ago.
Exactly, we're not gonna be able to go back. So we know that things are gonna get really bad before they get worse. But we should be doing everything that we can within our power, and we are not doing that.
No, just to mitigate it, just to be
to mitigate, just to be proactive.
Shoot for that goal of just like the same amount of carbon emissions every year. I don't even care. Like, we don't need to get that quick deficit. Yeah. You know, like all right, good. We're already on that downtrend, but we're still on the uptrend. Every year is more. And yet we've known about this.
Hurrah.
Shell, has documentation where they knew about this in the 60s and came up with a defensive plan to confuse the American public so that they could keep doing what they're doing to make maximum profits. We know that, and we haven't got out from that fog. And it's like cigarettes,
man. It's junk science, Santa Claus used to smoke cigarettes in advertisements back in the day. I just said advertisements like a fucking British person. In advertisements back in the day.
Vitamins and glaciers.
And you know what I mean? So the junk science was there. And I mean, we did something about that. We at least took fucking Joe Camel off the fucking thing so kids wouldn't think that smoking was cool. And we made cigarettes freaking $10 or $12 a pack.
You know why they took, you can't buy like Camel Lights? You got to buy Camel Silvers now.
Because it's all bullshit?
Yeah.
And I knew it was. That's what I smoked.
If you bought Camel Lights, it was a camel, but the filter had a little circle of pinhole dots right in the middle of the filter. And if you were to inhale, it would bring oxygen in those holes, which then gave you a lighter hit. Yep. But where you hold the fucking cigarette is right where the holes are. Mm-hmm. So you'd cover them up and get a full flavored cigarette. So they were like, you can't say light because you're not doing anything. Like there's no science here that's a light cigarette. You're just
Camel Blues.
Yeah. Now they're Camel Silvers, Camel Blues.
Oh, they're Camel Silver.
Well,
I haven't smoked in a long time.
Yeah, I smoke Camel Silvers still. But yeah, knowing that, if I want a nice light hit, I gotta hold it like a joint up near the top of it.
It'll be 8 years in September for me.
I commend you.
Yeah,
I've tried
I'm proud of that.
Many times. I do a vape. And I thought for sure that was going to save me. Now I just vape and smoke. So I'm the worst case scenario with that.
Oh, I don't do any. Yeah, I don't do any of this cigarette stuff.
Good for you. You could probably run a lot further than I. He's not faster than me.
Don't run.
Don't run.
I should. No, I said I don't run. I still play hockey. I don't have time, man. Like my kids are just so young right now that every spare second I have, you know what I mean? I'm lucky that my freaking wife is cool with me doing this.
Yeah.
And going to hockey once a week and going to band practice every other week. But yeah, whenever I have free time instead of working out, I mean, I could work out, but I got to wake up at like just too early and I don't want to fucking do it. When I have free time, I work on music. That's all I've been doing this year, at least since my youngest was born.
You had the willpower to quit cigarettes. You got the willpower to run.
To wake up early.
No. I just want to know your speed and whether or not I'm faster than you. That's the point of this.
I don't know. You might be.
I am.
Okay.
I expected you to be more aggressive about it.
I don't like running. I don't like running.
To the
like
victor, the spoils.
The whole idea of me like sprinting to try and win a race right now, like really just, it almost physically hurts me to think about it.
I mean, yes, I totally agree. But my competitiveness is like, I'll take it.
But I could skate faster than you.
Nah, impossible.
Well, that's not true.
Are we talking roller or ice?
Both.
Okay, this is the competition I wanted. This is the aggression. All right.
I have a game tomorrow. I'll show up quick and just roll out in the rink and we'll...
For real?
Yeah.
All right, I'm fully sharpened.
No, I was roller hockey.
Oh, okay. No, I still got my missions. I'm good.
They have indoor wheels?
Yeah.
All right, show up tomorrow. It's like 5 or 5:55. I don't know. I'll have to look at the calendar.
Okay.
No one cares about this.
Well, come to there, wherever that is, and watch us race.
Yellow Breaches Sports Center.
This won't even be up in time. So we'll let you know how it went via the post.
No, it won't be up in time. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll put it up later tonight. I don't know. I have a friend in town who I'd like to see. I don't know. I got to take care of my parents' dogs and shit too.
All right, we're de-evolving here.
You guys are just hearing a lot about my life, but I don't know, we are approaching 50 minutes.
Yeah.
I knew we weren't going to go too crazy today.
Honestly, I thought it was going to be shorter because we wanted to do the indictment and some climate change stuff because they both are honestly, as much as they seem like two different cupcakes, they are the same cake because it's just the idiocy of the people, and that's the crux of what I'm trying to get across. Is like, think about what camp you're in. Are you in the camp that's a sea of idiots? Look around you, look at the people you're idolizing, and look at how the world views them. and then be like, huh, because maybe, maybe you'll be surprised.
I hate going down this path, but I mean, a lot of it has to do with, I mean, people are just uneducated, people, and it's a war against intellectuals. It's if somebody might seem smarter than me, and I don't want to hear what they have to say because I'm too proud. I don't know. Because I love patriotic tropes like freedom and pride and stuff and liberty, and I can't stop thinking about that stuff. So if somebody comes around and they say something I don't understand, I'm gonna be like, no, because I'm too proud, and I vote for the people that tell me that I should be proud, and those are the people that don't believe in what you're saying, and so I vote for it because all I care about is what makes me proud, like my guns and my trucks and like whatever else, my little corner of the world that hopefully is just filled with white Christian people. That's what they want.
Yeah, I mean it's
and it's. I mean, Reagan's education secretary said it best, man. You don't want a whole group of you don't want an educated fucking citizenry. Like you don't want everybody and their mom going to college, man, because when you have an intellectual citizenry constituency, people aren't going to vote for morons. They're not going to vote over dumb fucking issues that don't make sense. They're not going to.
If we weren't fighting with each other, we'd be fighting the powers that be to make our lives better. As cliche as it sounds, it's the truth.
Yeah.
The more you can create disruption amongst the people, the less they view what you're doing day to day and critique it.
It's crazy how much nobody in their right mind, in my opinion, should trust politicians. You know what I mean? I don't, but to say that like a man, like a grifter, like as much, just to say that like he would be anything better, that he would drain the swamp. I mean, like, I guess I'll never understand it in 2016, but it happened. You got him for 4 years, and things got a whole fucking hell of a lot worse. And now you see what's happened.
Yeah,
and I don't like. You're choosing the worst of the worst, man. Like, I do believe there are some, like, I think Bernie Sanders is a good man. You know what I mean? Do I think that he uses certain, like, he didn't vote for the debt ceiling bill. He knew it was going to pass, but he still came out and said, I'm not going to vote for this. And then, like, made a stance about it and everything. It's like, okay. But, like, Bernie, if your vote really mattered, you would have voted for it, I think. You know what I mean? Because you didn't want people to.
He was the deciding vote, of course.
Sure, exactly.
He has compassion and humanity in him.
Exactly. So... But I do think that he is, I do think there are good people. There are at least, as like I mentioned, adults. And I mean, Trump is just, he's a fucking far cry from that. I'll never understand it.
Yeah.
And the only way, the closest thing I can come up with is that we need a cultural shift in this country. We need a body of voters that is well educated, that is more culture, that is forced to be interwoven with people that they choose to deny existence. Well, I mean, like, I'm sorry, they're here. Trans people, gay people, black people, foreigners, like, they're here. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to coexist with them. You know what I mean?
I think these generations coming up are going to do some things. I think there's going to be waves because you imagine, like I said, you disrupt the people and they disregard what's going on above that's affecting their life because they're too much divided. They're fighting each other.
Yeah.
But when it's easy, like a few years ago, we were getting homes with mortgages with 3.4%, 3.7% at decent prices, still being able to get ahead in life. Just make the gradual steps. Those aren't real anymore. You're looking at less than 7% for a mortgage on a 2 times overcharged
It was
house.
still even hard then. I mean, you still needed 2 incomes to like make that family work,
don't
even at those lower interest. Well, 10 years ago, sure, yeah, I know, but
I'm just saying that these up and coming generations they look at what, like, I can't buy a house. There's absolutely no way I can pay what they would like in their stage in life, 25, 30 years old. They would like to get a home that would be somewhat of a starter home. But those are now $250,000 that aren't money pits, and you're getting it at 7%. Yeah. And that isn't realistic with the way that we get paid as Americans. So it just doesn't correlate. Now the alt-right and the alt-left and all between of a generation are all going to be so mad that they can't get ahead. They're stunted in their growth, that they may find some common ground in a hatred of why is this happening? Why aren't we able to do what the generations before us did?
It's greed. It's greed and unfettered, unregulated capitalism.
Yes, but that's what we need to focus on, and that's why they divide us.
Yeah,
because we can't focus on.
I mean, you have people focused on, religion is the easiest thing. I mean, it's interwoven into our fabric of society. You prey on people's religious beliefs, and then you look at what sort of prejudices, what's, sort of like our club and their club type things you can pull out of it, like abortion rights or, like immigration and stuff like that. You try and find some way to like have that mindset and take control of it by saying, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to make sure that, I'm a church going, Republican, blah, blah, blah. And I believe in, a man and woman marriage and everybody's like gender, like there's all kinds of things that you can prey on through that vein of religion. And then there's also like other ancillary things like racism that you can get people mad about. You can get people mad about immigration. You can get people mad about climate change, and they're going to take your gas stoves, stuff like that. They're going to take your car, their guns. Yeah, it's demagoguery. And these are like these things are fucking meaningless, especially in the grand scope of climate change. Like right now, sure, I could even sit here and say, you know what, it's not going to be the worst for me. Like, I don't think I'm going to see the mass migration of people and disease up into Pennsylvania if I'm here the rest of my life. I think I will see some of it, but will I see it to the point where it gets completely catastrophic? I don't know. I might see the end of capitalism, and I might see the end of the U.S. global power, something like that towards the end, because that day is definitely coming. But again, that doesn't mean that like I'm just going to let just shut my mouth about all of it and not worry about it for my kids. But to that degree, like you were saying, people not being able to buy a house, to the gross inequality of wealth in this country, due to, again, trickle down economics, due to fucking lobbyists. I mean, all kinds of different things that are holding people back. I hope it can bring people together. I hope it can bring that next generation together. I don't know. I just don't know to what degree these people this younger generation is still influenced by their boomer parents or the ones that are maybe a little bit younger than that. Like there's still some, I think there's so much of it when you're a kid, man. I mean, that stuff sticks with you.
The generations I'm referring to don't have boomer parents. Like we have boomer parents.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what the ones that were a bit younger. That's
our
what I
kids
mean.
Is what I'm saying. But honestly, like a little bit older than our kids. I don't know.
The people in like their like very early 20s right now.
Very early 20s right now is what I'm saying.
What are they? They're not, are they we're millennials.
We're millennials. But I mean, they were the
Gen Zs. They're Gen Zs, right?
We're past the Gen Zs at this point. It's the next one.
They are. All right.
But that always shifts and is kind of bullshit in its own right. It's just trends and technology. But what I'm seeing, and a lot of it is the gender stuff, because honestly, we are a much more fluid species where it's just a big spectrum of sexuality. And at least this is how I feel. And
no, sure, I agree with you, man. Like we're just fucking animals, like free love and stuff. It's all about how comfortable you are. Like, just don't participate if you're not.
When the key doesn't always have to fit the hole. You know, it could be a plethora of things in your mind. So whatever.
As long as no one's getting hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Or taken advantage of, and it's consensual.
Perfect. Exactly.
Nothing wrong.
Things.
Exactly.
And when you can have that kind of conversation with kids, I feel like it's just nowadays anyway. It's much more when the nerds started becoming popular instead of the jocks. That made more sense. You know what I mean? Because the jocks were bullies in most cases. I'm generalizing hard.
I came from dude. My senior year, I played poker with the quarterback of my football team. My senior year, like he's a good dude. I just had a weird class. Everybody got along. It was cool.
Yeah,
but I love sports. Too, I didn't. So.
I was a chameleon myself, so I was friends with all the different groups, and I could tell the way they would speak about certain groups, whatever.
No, but I got you. Yeah, I definitely understand that. I
understand. Now you have a lot more fluidity. There's trans really wasn't a thing in my high school. We had one or two, and a few out gay people, but other than that, it was very few and far between. And now I feel like just colored hair, everything else that's going on, just free expression and just be who the hell you want to be. This is your childhood. You're about to go to the worst experience of your life. Enjoy what you're having now and just feel out who you're going to become.
Was high school the worst experience of your life?
No, I'm saying reality is.
High
school.
Okay.
When you're a kid and you want, but when you're in high school, you want the freedoms of adulthood so hard, and then when you realize what that is.
I don't know. I enjoyed high school. Like, there were definitely people I didn't get along with, but I had my crew and I had my purpose, and I mean it was always music, you know what I mean. But like I do miss that freedom. You're right. Like I miss the freedom of. Being like, sure, I had certain things I couldn't do because I was a kid, but I missed that freedom of just not having to worry so much about. Oh my gosh, a million things of being an adult.
It was the idea of being able to say, I'm going to eat cereal for dinner. Like, that's the most simple thing, but like, I'm just going to eat a shit ton of cereal for dinner. And having that want and being like, man, I can't wait to be an adult and do that. But like, you don't realize the shits you're going to have. You know what I mean? So like there's so much more to it, and I feel like kids today are coming
Adult tummy aches.
and they are realizing that they're seeing the misery that's coming up because the internet of information gives them news way earlier than we were getting news. We didn't know what was going on in the world and everything that's happening. I feel like they can see.
I played Snake on my phone senior year in high school. If I even had a phone senior year, I think I did, but it stayed at home, and then I don't know. My girlfriend probably called me on it, and like my close friends, and I played Snake.
My graphic calculator, what was it? The T83?
It was a Nokia. That's what I remember a graphic calculator.
I could put so many games in there.
Yeah, man, I could write boobies on my calculator. Boobies.
Upside down. You got
upside down all the time.
All right, we're gonna round out at 1 hour even if we cut it here real soon. So
all right, cool. So yeah, this has been season 2, episode whatever, and
Four,
we're about
four,
and we're gonna stop right at an hour here in
5
about
seconds.
5 seconds.
How are we gonna fill the 5 seconds?
3.
I'm so
2.
concerned about 2 seconds. Why didn't you do the fucking outro? Don't we do an outro?
Sometimes, yeah, but it was just too late, I guess. It was funny though. Post that up there and then just keep the video going, and because this is just the audio for whatever the fuck for Podbeam. But if you keep that going and make this be the video, that'll be
Season
funny.
2, episode 4 of
Slayers of Boredom Podcast.
For the Video. This is for you.
Is this how it goes? Am I on beat? Is this what we do in the clubs? Are we snapping
You
and
can
stomping
hear it.
our feet?